Welcome to the Clearview School Division Ward 4 Candidates Forum. This informal informational event has been organized by the Stettler Public Library and the Stettler Regional Board of Trade. Please introduce yourselves. Starting with you, Mr. Chauffeur. We're going to go alphabetically.
My name is John Chauffeur. I've lived in Botha-Byemoor all my life. Grew up there, went to school in Botha-Byemoor, took grade 12 in Stettler, played lots of sports. I have a wife, Carolyn, and 2 kids and 4 grandkids. My 2 kids went to school in Botha-Byemoor from K to 9, and they took 10, 11, and 12 in Stettler. Had good experiences for the most part, didn't cause too many problems if I remember right, but yeah. And I have 4 grandkids. And I've been involved in my community my whole life. I've been the president of the Ag Society, president of the curling club. I have played lots of sports again in my community. I still curl, ski, snowmobile. Summertime, I golf, ride motorbikes and dirt bikes, and play ball. And other than that, I'm still fairly involved with my community, and I enjoy. I've been a trustee for 24 years, I guess now. I've enjoyed pretty well most of it. Sometimes I lose a vote, and I'm sometimes a little discouraged by it, but that's part of life. You don't win everything you throw into. So.
Thank you very much. Darren Van Oors, please tell us about yourself.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the organizers and to those watching here tonight and online. Thank you for your interest and your participation. My name is Darren Van Oors, and I'm running for the school board trustee for the Botha-Byemoor ward, as is John, also called Ward 4 in Clearview. Education has been my life's work. After my wife and I moved to this area about 30 years ago, first to the Red Willow area, then to Botha after a year in Red Willow, we both joined Clearview School Division at that time, and we remained with Clearview School Division until we retired this past school year, so June, July. My wife has taught in several county schools in Clearview, including Botha, Big Valley, and Gus Wetter School. Myself, I've served in administration for my whole career here at Clearview, including 24 years as a principal and 5 years as the deputy superintendent. We've also had the opportunity to raise 3 wonderful daughters, all of whom attended and graduated from rural Clearview schools from start to finish. To us, Clearview and the Clearview schools is not just a place that we've worked, it's been home. And I have to say, when we first moved here, we didn't really plan to stay here. We moved here for opportunity. I got the job principalship. And over the years, we've kind of talked about moving. My parents were also teachers, and we moved around a lot. My dad started his teaching career actually here at Stettler at the William E. Hayes School as a CTS shop teacher. And we moved around all over Alberta and outside of Alberta actually through my years. So I wasn't used to living in one place, whereas my wife grew up in Strathmore and spent her whole life there. But after we moved here, and we started having children and they started going to school, we realized there was no better place that we could move to for our kids' sake, for their education, and so we stayed. And over those years, in my work, I've gained a deep understanding of how school divisions and the Alberta education system in general operates. From finance, transportation, and facilities, to curriculum, staffing, and policies, I've managed budgets and school staffing responsibly. I've worked closely with parents, staff, and communities to keep schools strong and focused on success for kids. I decided to run for trustee because I believe small schools are the heart of our rural communities. Schools like Botha and Byemoor bring people together. They're essential to our identity, economy, and opportunities that we can offer our children. As trustee, I will work to ensure every Clearview student, no matter where they live, receives a high-quality education in a safe, supported, and sustainable local school.
Given that Botha currently has double busing, which could extend the length of the school day for Botha students, what are your thoughts on implementing a 4-day school week for the Botha students, similar to Brownfield School? John.
Yeah, it hasn't been brought up at the parent councils yet, but it does seem to work in Brownfield. And if the parents in Botha wish to go that way, I guess would be fine with me if they think it would work, and they could search it out and talk to the parents in Brownfield to see if it's a possibility and if the busing situation could work, because then you'd end up with one day where on the Friday or whatever day it would be that maybe you'd still have to have some busing for the high school kids. So it'd have to be searched out to see whether it'd be feasible and whether the parents would be able to make it work.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah, and similar to what John said, I think one of the first things we need to determine is if there's interest in the community and staff and the community and the ability for the school to do that. So we need to do a little bit of research into that. And I think we would also want to bring some information forward to the Botha parents and community to understand how it looks and feels in Brownfield, which has gone very well for Brownfield. Whether that would translate as well for Botha or not, that would need to be determined. And if that were the case, and if the community wanted that, then I would be advocating for that.
The board appears to support initiatives like full-time kindergarten in some schools to help maintain enrollment. What are your thoughts on the board supporting an after-school bus run into Stettler to help rural students access childcare or extracurricular activities?
You're talking about in Botha?
I assume that's what it is.
Yeah, it looks like that's what it is. They don't mention Botha specifically.
Yeah, I think there's some things, there's something to look at there, but whether another after-school route is the answer, or if there's an after-school program that can be delivered at the school to meet those needs rather than busing might be a more budget-friendly answer to that. Something to look at again and explore further. I know that there's been some talk in the community about that.
Yeah, it did happen quite a few years ago where there was a bus. Some of the circumstances were different where the bus driver lived and so on. And yeah, right now there is an after-school program at Botha that seems to be working. And it's hard to have everything for everybody. There is lots of programs in Stettler after school, sure there is, but to get them there, to get the students there, and with the busing, and in the last few years, we've made money with our busing, with our transportation. Before that, we had lost usually $100,000 a year. So budgeting is a big aspect of it, and the need. Right now, the need at the school seems to be working with the after-school program. So. And that's what the parents wanted. It took a little while to get that to happen, but it did happen. So it seems to be working well at the time, so yeah.
At what point do you believe it is no longer feasible to keep a rural school open? Is there a specific enrollment number or other criteria that you would use to make that decision?
That's a very tough question. I mean, like both of this in Zone 4, Ward 4, both of our schools are small, Botha and Byemoor. And with the environment in our part of Alberta, our farms are getting bigger and we're having less population. I would never want to close a school. I know the government has different ideas. If you got below 34, you lose a bunch of funding. And I would vote against closing any of our schools, even because of the money, because our communities are school-based, and the community wants their schools, and our government has gone down a path of underfunding us and underfunding small rurals. They had given more money to the HUD rates here about 4 years ago, and they didn't give any more money to the small rurals. So there's some question to be asked of the government.
Thank you.
Darren?
Yeah, so I don't have any hard numbers or hard line in the sand there for that question. But like, as John mentioned, there is a point at which when enrollment drops below 35, I think there is a loss of a significant amount of funding for the school. Whether that means it's unsustainable to keep the school open or not, that's questionable. I think my focus would be more on let's ensure that we never reach that 34 or less number. There's plenty of students that live in the Byemoor catchment and that live in the Botha catchment to keep those schools healthy. And so my focus as a trustee would be, let's work on providing a good program in both schools and make sure we don't get down to that 34. If we do, I would not be voting to close the school. I will not vote to close the school.
Is the decision to fund full-time kindergarten at Stettler Elementary truly being made in the best interests of a child's early learning needs, or is it a response to the competition from East Central Catholic schools?
Well, I would say there's a bit of both. There's some truth to both of those pieces, I would say. There's no doubt that when you expose kids to a greater amount of time focused on structured, literacy, numeracy, and educational activities, they're going to perform better. Studies show that kids who spend a full year in kindergarten, they do tend to come up a little higher than a kid who is in half-time. That doesn't mean that those kids doing half-time kindergarten don't catch up, though. As their primary years progress, typically by the age grade 3, I think the impact is pretty much flat at that point. For sure, there's an element of competition there, and I wouldn't make any excuses for that. I think we're in a competitive business, and I don't see anything wrong with doing that if we are able to do that in a reasonable and budget-friendly manner.
Thank you. John?
Yeah, kids going earlier to kindergarten does help them in their path down for education. Of course, it's going to help. But yeah, we do have full-time in Clearview, and not all parents take advantage of it. And it is against competition, sure it is. I mean, because we have parents who want it. But we have an issue because the environment of how parents work now, when you got two parents working, they want full-time kindergarten. So there is both sides to it, but it seems to be a need that the parents want in the Stettler area. So that's why Clearview had stepped up and done that. And like I say, there's both sides, parents who use the full-time kindergarten and parents use the part-time. So it seems to work for both. And yeah, it is a competition thing for sure. So yeah.
Full-time kindergarten is currently offered at Stettler Elementary, but not at other schools in the division. What is the total cost to the division to run this program in Stettler? And do you believe that level of investment should be invested to all schools to ensure equitable access? John.
I should know the number off the top of my head, but I don't. It is a cost, and there again, it has to do with competition. There is no competition in any of our other smaller schools or Coronation, and I don't think there's competition in Castor where the other Catholic school is, as far as I know. I could be wrong. But it has to do with competition, and it does cost money, and some of the parents have to pay some extra, I do believe. I just don't know the whole process on that, but Darren might know more than I do. But I think when parents want something, you need to supply it, and that's what's happening in Stettler. So I don't know if we push it in the rest of the division or not. So yeah.
Darren?
I could be wrong, but I do believe that there is opportunity for full-time kindergarten as well in Gus Wetter School in Castor. That's a fairly recent development. So in any case, the cost really comes down to the cost of staffing. And when you're looking at cost of staffing, you're talking about teaching staff. So a full-time kindergarten, as opposed to half, you're doubling the cost of staffing. So whatever the cost is, let's say it's $100,000 for a teacher, a full-time teacher. So half-time would be $50,000. So, if you have 3 classrooms of full-time kindergarten, you're paying $300,000 as opposed to $150,000 for those teachers. There might be some other costs, but it really comes down to the staffing costs.
Currently, full-time kindergarten is funded at Stettler Elementary, but not at other schools in our division. How do you justify this unequal access to early education? And what would you do to ensure all children in our division have the same opportunities, regardless of which school they attend?
That's very similar. But aside from the cost part, which I've already talked about. I do think that those are valid questions and concerns. I think we need to understand if that is a universal kind of thought out there. And if it is, then we need to do a better job, I think, of explaining why we're doing what we're doing. I know we have some good reasons. Keeping Clearview strong, I think, benefits all of Clearview schools. I know some people outside of Stettler think that Stettler is getting a great deal, but it benefits everyone. If Stettler is strong and healthy, all of our communities and schools will be strong and healthy as well. If you weaken one of our schools, it weakens all of us. So we need to keep that in mind as well. And competition is a real factor, and we do need to address that. And that is how we're addressing it. And that's how the board has chosen to address it. Whether we continue to do that or not, I don't know. That's a question to wrestle with.
Thank you. John?
Yeah, there again, I don't know how far you go out into other parts of the schools. Some small amounts may want it, but I think it'd have to be searched out to find out how many really want full-time kindergarten. And there again, it's the competition thing. We all know that if you start your children in a school, whether it's the Catholic or the public, your child's probably going to stay in that school. So if you have more students in Stettler in the public school, then Stettler is a stronger school and you have more students there. So, and with student comes funding. That's how you pay for teachers. So funding is a big part of this whole thing. So if your kids are going to the public school, we as Clearview get more money to satisfy more needs throughout the division. So the competition is the big factor within Stettler.
That's all the questions we have for you, gentlemen. So thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to you we're going to start with you, Darren, and you can give your closing remarks, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you again for the opportunity to be here tonight, and to everyone taking the time to listen in, both in person and online. Thank you also to our wonderful moderator, Mrs. Scottapool, done a great job tonight keeping us in line. Thank you. I spent nearly 3 decades working within Clearview. I know how the decisions made at the board table affect classrooms, families, and communities. As deputy superintendent, I participated in dozens of board meetings and saw firsthand the important role that trustees play in shaping the quality and future of our schools. Trustees have a responsibility to listen carefully, ask the right questions, and make wise decisions, especially when resources are tight and small schools are under pressure. My focus is simple: keep our schools strong, our communities heard, and our decisions transparent and fair. I bring experience, understanding, and a genuine love for these communities, and I'm ready to continue serving them in a new way. I'd be honored to earn your support on October 20th. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. John?
Thanks for the opportunity, everyone. Thanks, Jane, for moderating and keeping us in line. I've been on as a trustee for, as I say, 24 years. I've made some good decisions and probably made some bad decisions according to people, but that's the way it goes. So it's, and I have a love for our communities, both Byemoor and Botha, and all our people in it and the students. It's great to see our students go through life. Somebody once asked me what's the greatest thing. Well, to me, it's to see kids come back into our community and be part of our community, to be functioning parts of society that make our communities great, and then they have kids and they put them through our system. It's all part of a great thing. I mean, we have lots of great people in our communities, and it's always great to see when they're younger and they grow up and then they have young ones to have them in the school. And I have loved being a trustee, and I'm ready to serve for another 4 years, and I will do my best. You have to have a voice, and sometimes our government, they're good, but they don't like answering hard questions, it seems, anymore. They don't like to have the hard questions asked, which is sad because there are some hard questions to be asked. I mean, we have a problem with funding private schools, and they're giving more money to that, apparently. So we don't need that to happen, and we need, as board and as trustees, we need to voice those opinions because they need to be those people need to listen to us because we're the people on the ground. People vote for us to go talk to them, and they should not be shutting us out. They should be listening to us. So I will fight as hard as I can for us to be listened to and keep schools in our small schools and keep everything running properly in our division. Thank you very much.